welcome to Clerks Minute, the show where we look back and break down the 1994 Kevin Smith classic movie, one Asbury Park paper at a time. I'm Blake.
I'm Kyle.
And we're going to look at Dante raising the gates to open up the quick stop, and it ends with him putting the quarterback in the cash register after getting the papers, and we'll get into all that in a minute. We have a lot to discuss here. We start with editor and producer Scott Mosier and Kevin Smith. So, we all know Kevin Smith, and we'll see him later as Silent Bob.
Duh.
But Mosier and Kevin Smith, for those that don't know, they host the Smodcast podcast. They just celebrated their 10-year anniversary doing the Smodcast podcast, so that's a very big deal for them. Mosier, I know, is out in Paris now doing a film of his own. So that's, and Kevin recently took his mother to Notre Dame. So he visited Scott while he was out there. So that's pretty cool.
Sanctuary!
So
Sanctuary!
So that's that. So what else can you tell us about Scott Mosier there, Kyle?
Let's see. He's actually become a producer of his own here. He's the executive producer of Drawing Flies with your friend and mine, Jason Lee.
Of course.
And aside from doing a lot of Kevin Smith films, he was the executive producer in Good Will Hunting.
Yes.
Which is probably where they met Matt Damon.
Yes, I believe that might be right.
Producer of Dogma, of course. One called A Better Place, which for some reason actually got lumped in here with a... Oh, yeah, it was a View Askew production. A drama, actually. A high school outcast new to town becomes friends with a violent loner still haunted by the death of his parents.
Oh, by the way, to answer your question, Good Will Hunting actually came after Mallrats and Chasing Amy.
Yeah.
I looked it up. It came after.
Oh, I know that. I didn't.
I'm just saying, you said you asked about that. They did those movies before Horror Ratings. Obviously, they met him before that.
Okay.
Just going by what you said. That's all.
Yeah. Well, no, that was Affleck, not Matt Damon.
But continue on.
Okay. All right. Let's see. Tail Lights Fade, executive producer, uncredited. One for something called Big Helium Dog.
No idea.
What the fuck? Okay, now I'm actually curious.
I love the fact that we're looking this shit up. It's funny as hell to me.
What is 89 minutes long? Basically, Big Helium Dog takes everything you think you know about comedy, straps it to a monkey, and shoots it into outer space.
Bump.
Breaks every rule, sidesteps every tired cliche, flies from tangent to tangent, and somehow ties it all together in the end to result a kinetic, absurd, and flat-out hilarious sketch comedy film. Okay.
Oh, there you go. That
Written
works.
and directed by Brian Lynch.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. Yes.
Wow.
Yes, a guy who would later go on to co-write stuff such as Puss in Boots, The Secret Life of Pets, Minions, Hop.
So what is Mosier doing now? What's he doing out in France? Does it stay on there?
Out in France? Hold on a moment.
Does it stay on there what he's doing out in France right now? I never really heard what he's doing out there.
Oh, let's see here.
I think he's working on a project.
Well, let's see here. Under upcoming projects, they have How the Grinch Stole Christmas for 2018, Jay and Silent Bob Reboot.
Yes, that's the new reboot movie.
Helena Handbag.
Really? Wow. Just weird. He's out in France for a year, and I don't know why.
Yeah. He wants to remake The Dark Crystal.
Oh, well, there you go.
Let me see here. I don't even know why he's in Paris. I'm looking here.
I'm looking it up too. I'm looking on Wikipedia. Maybe there's something there.
Oh man, I would have loved to have seen this. He unsuccessfully tried to produce a remake of the movie Chud. And for those of you who don't know, I'm sorry. I love you could say intelligent movies and all that. I like those, but I love horror and sci-fi. The cheesier the better. I love Chud. And for those of you who don't know, it stands for Cannibalistic Humanoid Underground Dwellers.
Well, there you go.
And of course, it also led to the nickname for the street people in New York, Chuds.
Oh. So anyway, we're back to the moment when you know you're in Jersey when you see the Asbury Park Press. That's when you realize you're in Jersey.
It's like when you realize you're in Milwaukee when you see the Journal Sentinel.
It's pretty much the exact same thing, because that's a paper you never see outside of New Jersey. Actually, I should say, outside of southern New Jersey, I should actually make a note. Because
they have
a different paper. They have different papers out there. They have different papers in various part of the states. So, like, they have the Shopper up in Garfield, where I live.
Okay.
That's actually the name of our local paper. It's a Shopper. So, I don't even know if it still exists, but I know it did when I was out there. So somebody let me know if the Shopper still exists. That would be really cool. And it was funny. I'll bring it up.
Our New Jersey listeners, please let us know.
Yeah, I'd love to know if the Shopper still exists. Anyone on the upper in the northeast of New Jersey, I'd love to know. Anyway, I was writing down notes on what we saw in the background. We saw a ridiculously big Coca-Cola sign in the back.
Yeah.
Which is obvious. We saw the nuts and snacks sign, which cracked you up.
Yeah, I could imagine Jay cracking up at that. Hey, look at that Silent Bob nuts. Maybe we can get some to replace yours. Sweet.
How is that not in the script? That's fantastic.
Seriously, they passed up the most obvious joke for him.
Oh man, and for jokes in this movie, you know.
Yeah.
We cut to the cat on the counter, and behind it is the Bic lighters, which we'll talk about smoking later in the film. We'll talk about that later in the film.
And one of these things for you to realize as we go on with this, whenever you have conversations with customers about a subject they're talking about, they always have objects related to what they're talking about.
This is true. This is very, very true. We cut to the Daily News as he's cutting the Daily News, and we're literally sitting here for 10 minutes in the middle of like a 1 second moment trying to figure out what the hell Daily News this is, because it's talking about I have it right down here.
Missing kids of Waco.
Yes, pray for them in quotation marks.
So this is apparently an issue released during the Ruby Ridge Waco siege.
Yes, back in the early 1993.
Which
if you're trying to figure out
one of the inspirations for Red State.
Well, there you go. So that's how things come full circle, right?
Yeah.
Full circle right around. So we come back inside and he's making coffee, and we have the Instant Sanka, which is decaf, and we have Maxwell House coffee. And next to the Maxwell House coffee pot is brewing, old school brewing, by the way. My dad would love it.
Yeah.
My dad loves the old school brewing like that. But
the old school brewing machines, you mean?
Yeah, the old school brewing machines. He loved those things. He loved them. He used to live on them. My dad used to love coffee. He loves those machines.
Oh,
he was so mad. He was so mad when he had to throw out his old machine because it broke. He was so bad.
He and my dad get along great.
So. And then we see a charity jar, as you pointed out to me, for money, and it was the worst scars of child abuse are those who don't see.
Part of it was cut off, so I had to guess.
Yeah, that sounds right. It does sound right to me.
And I have a friend named Anna who actually was abused early on in her life, and I can attest to that.
Well, there you go, and hopefully she's listening to this show, and this is hi. There you go. Yeah. So in the background again, we cut to we have not had a word of dialogue yet, by the way, in this minute. I thought that was pretty funny. But anyway, we cut in the background, and we have a counter. It's Sensitive Eyes, which is obviously some eye stuff. It's obviously not a name brand at all.
Yeah.
Then we have Bare Aspirin, and we have Contacts for contact lenses all on the same shelf, which is, I don't know what Bare Aspirin is doing with eye stuff, but whatever. I don't understand that one. And then you pointed out to me, I didn't catch, they had those bags hanging behind Dante.
They must be the store brand candy.
Yeah, because we were thinking, first thing I thought of was like in Woodman's, where we had those candy aisle where all the store brand candy things. And I
thought that's where they were hanging all the peanuts in that.
Well, either way you look at it, it works, you know. And then our first line of dialogue when Dante realizes there's no Asbury papers. Shit. That's the only line of dialogue in this entire minute, which is fantastic
Rather
to me.
restrained for a Kevin Smith movie.
Well, there's a lot actually going on in the background. Yeah. So we cut outside, and we had the Asbury Park Press, the Star Ledger, and another one that we couldn't read. It was Something Times. That I couldn't.
Something Times.
But I love the fact that two of them said more sports in both of these papers, which I thought was pretty funny.
So how do they measure that up? Did they go and look at all the other papers and see how their sports sections added?
I am someone who did pick up the Daily News and New York Post way back because I love their sports sections.
Yeah.
Because the New York Post. One thing I give the New York Post and Daily News for, they had amazing sports sections back in the day. Yeah. Fantastic when I was in high school. Yeah. So I do give credit where it's due for that, because they're probably competing with that, as my personal opinion is on that. The Star Ledger, by the way, is the local paper in the state of New Jersey. The whole state of New Jersey has the Star Ledger. Now, the gag here is that we're out of papers, so Dante brings a quarter out to use the machine to get the papers. Yeah.
He not only takes the papers inside, but he takes the display.
Yes, and you said, that's brilliant. I'm like, I've done that. And you're like, you used to work at me. And no, I used to be in the paper. I used to be in the paper because I was a football player. In my senior year.
I was going to say, given your background, I wouldn't have been surprised if you worked in a convenience store.
No. I was a football player in high school. In my senior year, we were a headline. Every year they did a headline in your senior class for the varsity, and they put like color photos and all this kind of stuff in the paper. So that year, I went and did that. I went to one of the Bergen record stands, put a quarter, and grabbed all of them so I could give them to my family. Because there's me in color in the paper for the first time in my life. It was a really cool moment. It was a cool moment. So I can relate to that moment. I just thought it was cool. No, I have a scrapbook or a folder in the attic here, actually, from all the times my team was in the paper. Your phone's ringing. We'll pause a second.
Yellow. Robocall.
It's okay. So I have a folder that actually has all the press clippings from when I was our team was in the paper all the years, including an amazing color photo on a Tuesday morning after we won a Monday afternoon game of my buddy Jose pointing up in the air. One of the most amazing photos I've ever seen. I love that photo.
Wow, there's a lot of pencils stuck up there.
So, as we noted, he got the quarterback, which is amusing. I thought that was pretty... I don't think he stopped and went back. Yeah. There must have been a sound. He must have heard something. Yeah. That's pretty funny.
I was going to say, did that happen to you? Did you ever get your
quarterback? I never got the quarterback. That was a cool moment, though.
A broken machine.
So he put the papers in the slot, and that's what we come back to him putting the quarterback in the drawer.
Probably thinking it's going to be my lucky day.
He has no idea what's about to happen.
Yeah, sadly, I think getting the quarterback will be the highlight of your day.
I think so. So, let's see here. It actually does not give any credit to any papers in the thing, so that's pretty cool. Yeah. So we get all that. By the way, we literally covered in the matter of a minute, maybe about a paragraph and a half of the script. Yeah. Which is pretty funny. By the way, I love the fact that every single time it hits external or internal on the script, it's convenience store, morning. Yeah. Convenience store, morning. Every single time. Yeah. It's like, wow.
And of course, the shit is scripted.
I just think it's funny that it happens every time. So that's where we are. Actually, literally, we're on the quarter drops in the register drawer. Cut 2. And that's our next minute after the scene. We're pretty much following along with the script, word for word, which I actually like. I'm not going to lie. So I'm actually looking at my little booklet here. And we do have some behind-the-scenes photos in here. And unfortunately, the date's still not on the thing here. The date's still not here. We're trying to figure this out. And I love the fact that one of the pictures is Jay holding on to Kevin's nuts, and another one is Jay's ass. That's the behind-the-scenes photos they included in the booklet.
Given how they basically have categorized Jay as basically a gay
man. Wait! Hang on a second.
Yeah.
April 2nd, 1993.
Yeah.
That's actually a date in here. So there you go. Yeah. So that's pretty cool.
So yeah, this was at the tail end of the Ruby Ridge Waco thing.
There you go.
And yeah, basically given the fact that they've categorized Jay as a gay man in deep denial.
Oh shit, that's pretty funny.
Or at least according to a deleted scene from Clerks 2.
That's something we'll have to talk about. They did the whole page on how much money they spent credit card wise. We'll get to that another time. That's pretty cool. Although I don't think Kevin Smith putting this booklet together. There's a lot of really cool details in this booklet. So, well, that's that. This is a quick minute of a lot of stuff in the background, which I like. A lot of fun stuff in the background. So I have a feeling we'll do a lot of that, more of that as we go along. So we'll wrap this up quickly. No big deal, no quick. And I think people appreciate these quick shows, especially on this side of the coin, when not a whole lot's going on yet. So thank you all for listening. Follow us at Clerks Minute on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram. And I keep forgetting to say this. We're part of the Filling the Void podcast network. I keep forgetting to say that.
Hi, boss.
I think this episode, the boss is going to kill me for not mentioning this. But yeah, follow and find us on Spreaker, iHeartRadio, and all over the place. The show's on iHeartRadio yet, because we have to get to 5 episodes to get on iHeartRadio. So once you get there, we'll be there.
Okay.
But find the network everywhere you could find podcasts. Find this show, and also find the Blake and Sal show, which is the show I host, and Boy Retrocast, which is the other show we co-host with me. So, which is, I think, at this point, wrapping up Season 1 replay, and we're getting the Season 2 replay over on Boy Retrocast, and then we'll be able to get back into doing what we do. So, I just want to get that out of there. I know the boss would kill me if I don't bring it up eventually here. Yeah. So, that being said, thank you all for listening to today's show. We'll be back on Friday for our next minute. I'm Blake.
I'm Kyle.
Thank you for listening to the Clerks Minute. Have a good day.
And please think of the innocent kids of Waco. Pray for them.
Smoking weed, doing coke, drinking beers, rolling fatties, smoking blunts. Who smokes the blunts? We smoke the blunts, rolling blunts and smoking.